I think everybody needs to feel like they belong. Everyone needs to feel loved by somebody. Everyone needs to feel part of a family. And if things are hard at home and we can be that family and we can be that safe place, I think that's important for every child.
Welcome to 100 Huntley Street, friends. We're so glad you're joining us today.
Absolutely.
Okay, Joe,
Yes.
Something's caught my eye. I'm sure it's caught their eye. Well, where is it? No, this amazing jar of marbles. I'm thinking we're about to play marbles.
We're not. And
Okay.
in a couple of minutes, I'm going to tell you what this is about. But this was inspired by a really cool story that made it our way.
Okay.
Do you remember during the pandemic, there
Yes.
used to be these like colored stones at the base of trees?
Yes, my neighbor Melanie made them all the time. She would put them everywhere with her
Yeah,
kids.
they were everywhere, and they had like little sayings on them, little encouraging things. Well, there's a 9-year-old little girl. Her name is Emma Trell from London, Ontario, and she was inspired by that whole fad. And so she started filling these little tiny bottles with handwritten notes of encouragement, and she filled them, with all kinds of glitter and stuff. And she just wanted to do something that would inspire people and just put a little pep in their step and give them a little hope.
Wow.
And so when I read the story, I thought of you right away. I said, you know what? I'm going to make my own jar of inspiration. And so I had to scour the city. I hope people can appreciate how much work I had to do.
Yes.
I had to scour the city and go to 3 different dollar stores. And when you ask for marbles, they look at you like you're, I don't know, out of this
Who
world
plays
or
with
something.
marbles?
But come on.
Anymore.
Okay, if you're out there and you're watching this maybe later on social media, drop us a note if you remember playing marbles as a kid.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
you remember playing marbles, right? You were telling
100%.
me.
We did not didn't
that's
have a lot of money, couldn't afford all the hockey gear and stuff. But you can get a bag of marbles.
Okay,
And so,
this is beautiful,
So I got 3 bags, and this is.
I really like it.
This is Joe's version of a bag of what it's supposed to look like, and I know you or my wife Karen would have had like the
It would
whatever.
have been like perfect with
It would have
Karen
been
doing
perfect.
it. She's a
But-
designer type.
But I tried.
Okay.
So what I did was I filled it with marbles, and then I went online, and it's got like a bunch of common phrases and words of encouragement, and I
okay.
printed them off and I put them in this jar. And I've said this before, everybody has a different vibe on the show,
Yes.
and you're the mom for sure. You're that caring, nurturing person. And I said, you know what? I said, let's make one of these jars, and we'll give it to Laura, and then you can keep it on your desk. And when people come by and they see me a little down, you could give them a little encouraging note.
I would love that.
So
This
you don't
is
know
so
you don't know
kind.
what's in
No,
here, right?
I don't.
All right, so
Okay, so I'll pull one out.
pick something. Let's see.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
What does it say?
You're a masterpiece in progress. Oh, I love it so much.
Who doesn't want to hear that?
Hear that? Get to, I just want to tuck that in my pocket here, or I'm going to keep it in
Want
the
to
jar.
try one more?
Yes.
I think we have time. We can do one more. Sneak it in there.
This is like the nice.
Take your time, but hurry
I'm
up.
just really, really touched. Someone is grateful for you today, Joe.
Isn't that?
It
Could
is
you imagine
so nice.
you're having a bad
Yes,
day, and
yes.
you're like, what am I really contributing, and this and that, and you get that little note.
No.
So
And
maybe
the
this
truth
is
is,
something-
someone is always grateful for each one of us.
Maybe it's
at some
something
point.
that you can do.
Yes.
It's very, very simple. Just go to a dollar store, grab some marbles,
Yes.
throw some kindness notes in there,
Yeah.
and
So this
make
is really
someone's
meant
day.
for my desk.
Yes.
Okay, so also I'm going to keep it on my desk, and you're right, I'll cheer people up if they need it, and I will read them myself. Joe, thank you so much for being so kind and such a wonderful co-host. He's like, no more words of affirmation. They're all in the jar
You know
for
what?
you.
Kids can be so inspirational, and we have to give back to them. So now we want to we were in London. Now we want to head over to Welland, where Real City Kids, they become a safe place for hundreds of children and youth to make them feel like they belong and they're loved and be inspired to change the world.
In 2008, Sonia Wairenga and a group of friends who were passionate about making a difference in their community decided to invest in the children and families of Welland, Ontario by starting a children's outreach program called Rose City Kids.
We wanted to connect with children that were lost and broken, coming from dark places. We wanted to give them hope, and we wanted to show them Jesus. We wanted to direct them to Jesus and show them love. So when the kids come for the first time, they absolutely love it. Like, their response would be, everybody's nice at Rose City Kids. They were in an environment where they felt like they were loved and noticed. And we are faith-based, which means that we are going to be open about Jesus and help direct kids to Him. And the parents are absolutely okay with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Every child that comes to our program is loved by like a huge crew of volunteers. They don't just come here for the program, but we end up going to their house every 2 weeks just to show up. We pop in at their door. We say hi to the child. On their birthday, we bring them a gift. At Christmas, we bring them a gift. So we just want them to feel like they're part of our big family.
After renovating an old downtown theater and later an abandoned men's shelter into a youth center, Rose City Kids soon had more than 700 kids and teens attending their various weekly programs.
I think everybody needs to feel like they belong. Everyone needs to feel loved by somebody. Everyone needs to feel part of a family. And if things are hard at home and we can be that family and we can be that safe place, I think that's important for every child.
Originally only a Saturday outreach for kids up to 12, Rose City Kids expanded their programs to accommodate teens.
So we started a youth program, and then as a result of the youth program, we saw potential leaders. So we had a junior leadership for girls and for guys, and we'd pick out leaders and put them in the program. And then we'd train them to be leaders in the community. So they'd serve at Rose City Kids, and they'd serve in the community, and they'd also have Bible study incorporated in their leadership.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the opportunity again to do this, and just help them to not just be better humans, but to also know what it's like to know you and to find you. So that is our heart for all of them, is that they would just come to know you in a real way.
My name is Stephen Nunez, and I am the youth director at Rose City Kids. I get to oversee programs ranging from ages grade 7 to grade 12, and it's just kind of like your classic youth group. You know, kids will show up, we always have dinner together and enjoy a meal, and from there we get into a biblical lesson.
Steve has seen many issues that teens struggle with.
I would say a big one that might look a little different to other generations would be like the pressure of social media and having that 24-hour access into their lives and feeling like always having to perform. A lot of anxiety, loneliness, depression. Really, I feel like heavily like trying to fit in. Yeah, would be some of the bigger ones that I've seen that are really like coming to surface. You know, a lot of the youth we have who come might not necessarily know Jesus or come from church backgrounds, but they are open and willing to listen and to just get to be a part of that. And regardless of where the youth are in their life or whatever they choose, to just walk alongside them and see them grow into just young adults. It's really, really an honor to get to do that.
I just pray that you be with us in our small group time, and I pray that you just continue to encourage us and plant seeds of hope in our hearts.
My life would not be what it is today without Rose City Kids. I've been through a lot in my life, and Rose City Kids is like, the big part of how God changed my life, really. And today, I am a student studying engineering and following my dreams. None of that would have been possible without Rose City Kids.
So I didn't grow up in a Christian home, and I became a Christian because Rose City Kids introduced me to Jesus. And then from there, I slowly just began seeing changes in my heart and different different desires and different ways of living that I didn't see at my family. So I desired that more and more, and so I kept coming around to Roasted Kids and surrounding myself with Christians. And then I got baptized as a result of that. I just felt such a direct calling on my life from Christ that made me want to follow him.
I didn't grow up in a Christian family, so this place, Roasted Kids, it showed me that how much I love to work with kids, and it showed me what it means to love Jesus.
It makes such a great difference in kids' lives. Like, it changes their lives, really, because, you know, you come from a rough background, rough neighborhoods, and, you know, you get to a place that accepts you as like a second home, pretty much. It's a joy to see, and more than that, they teach you about Jesus. You know, they tell you the reason they do what they do is because of Jesus. So for me, I feel like more than anything, it gives hope and a home to, you know, to kids who might have given up.
I find it so rewarding. It's just watching these kids grow from these little innocent 6-year-olds to 14, 15-year-olds that now want to be part of a church or baptized. It's so rewarding to be part of their life and so fulfilling. And I just feel like God was walking this journey since day one, and he's never left us, and it's just been such an amazing experience.
So heartwarming. You know, one of the greatest investments we can make is in the lives of young people. And it's not about giving them opportunities, but it's really walking with them, guiding them, and you know, Joe, just believing in them. Yeah,
you know, absolutely. And the Bible gives us such a powerful example of that relationship between the Apostle Paul and Timothy. You know, it's really cool because Paul saw potential in Timothy, even when he was still young, and he chose to mentor him. I think that's really neat. You know, he didn't just teach him from a distance. He brought Timothy along with him on his journeys. He gave him responsibilities, and he encouraged him to stay strong in his faith.
He certainly did. And that, you know, Paul called Timothy his true son in the faith. I mean, that hits my heart. What we see there is the heart of mentorship and discipleship. And it's more than just passing on knowledge. It's sharing life, being present, and helping someone grow in both character and in their calling.
Yeah, and that's something that we can all do, because mentoring, it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as, you know, just spending time with a younger person, listening to their struggles, praying with them, encouraging them, and pointing them back to Jesus.
Exactly. And discipleship is about consistency. Just like Paul reminded Timothy to not let anyone look down on him because of his youth. That's so important. But to set an example, we can remind young people today that they have purpose and that God can use them right now.
Absolutely. So whether it's investing in your own kids or mentoring a student, or just being intentional with someone younger in your community, we all have the opportunity to shape the next generation, just like the Apostle Paul did with Timothy.
And speaking of building a strong foundation of faith, best-selling author Lee Strobel has been exploring the supernatural side of Christianity, the miracles, the evidence, and the reality of God's power. Let's turn now to a special teaching from Lee on his newest book.
Hi, I'm Lee Strobel, author of the new book, Seeing the Supernatural. There's a particular account in the Old Testament of the Bible that helped inspire me to document the supernatural and write this book. In 2 Kings chapter 6, we see that the servant of the prophet Elisha was scared. The Syrian army was hunting Elisha to extract revenge for foiling their attempt to ambush the king of Israel. Elisha's servant knew that whatever befell his master would also happen to him, and he was afraid he would be enslaved or even killed. Well, early one morning, the servant went out and was aghast to see in the distance a vast number of soldiers ready to pounce on them. "Oh, no, my lord, what shall we do?" the servant asked. "Don't be afraid," the prophet answered. "Those who are with us are more than those who are with them." That didn't seem to ease the servant's anxiety, but Elisha knew what to do next. Elisha prayed, "Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see." Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and he saw that the hills were actually full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. In other words, he was now able to see an army of angels that God had sent to protect them. And in the end, Elisha and his servant escaped unharmed. Here's my point. God gave Elisha's servant a wonderful gift that day. He allowed him to see the supernatural. And when he caught a glimpse of this otherwise hidden realm, suddenly his faith was renewed and his spirit was bolstered. His courage was bolstered. That vision reassured him of the love and protection of the God who created all. And I hope that's the effect that my new book will have on readers, because it looks at the documented evidence that the Bible is telling us the truth about a supernatural realm beyond what we can see and touch and put in a test tube.
In a world fascinated by the paranormal, where spiritual curiosity runs deep, what if the supernatural is real and the Bible has already revealed it? This month is our thanks for your ministry support of Crossroads and 100 Huntley Street. We're excited to offer the book Seeing the Supernatural by New York Times bestselling author Lee Strobel.
My hope is that this will be a bridge into the curiosity about the paranormal, to open their eyes to the true spiritual realm, which is the one that the Bible describes.
From medically documented miracles to chilling encounters with real spiritual darkness to near-death experiences that echo the promises of Scripture, Seeing the Supernatural isn't just a book, it's a wake-up call. With a gift of $40 or more, or when you become a new monthly partner, request your copy. Call 1-800-265-3100 or visit crossroads.ca/supernatural.
You know, when I first got my hands on Seeing the Supernatural, I didn't want to put it down. I read this book from cover to cover, and my faith was so encouraged as I read stories of God moving in supernatural ways, whether it was through the miraculous or angels manifesting. You know, something that Lee said, and it's very important, he said, avoid this common mistake of either not focusing on the supernatural realm at all or overly focusing on it. You know, when we pay attention to the supernatural realm in just the right way, from a biblical perspective, our faith in God grows immensely. So we want to get this book to you. So call 1-800-265-3100. Go to crossroads.ca/supernatural for a suggested gift of $40 or more. You're going to love having this book in your home. Well, over to you, Joe, who's with Cheryl now in Kenya.
Now we're heading over to Kenya, where Cheryl Reber, who's the Crossroads Cares director and co-host of this program, she's standing by. Hey, Cheryl, it's so good to see you. What's the work you're focusing on during this trip?
Well, Joe, it's great to see you. We are here in Kenya visiting our long-term partner, the Mully Children's Family, and we're here at a campus that we've been supporting for many, many years, specifically to do with women and girls. Now, these are girls that have been left destitute, girls that have been abandoned, girls that were forced into child marriage, sexually assaulted, or even just had a youth pregnancy and were abandoned by their partner. And so this is an incredibly compassionate ministry, and I love the fact that we're focusing on women, because here in Kenya, women are not invested in, they're not respected, they're not really educated, you know, they really don't have a lot of value except maybe to have babies. And even then, many times these girls are abandoned, which is what we saw today. And, you know, one of the words that really stood out to me was hopelessness. A lot of these girls really completely lost hope that they would ever get out of the circumstance they're in. And they were, you know, they were praying, and some of them were even thinking about ending their lives by suicide. And so it was a tough day to hear those stories, but then came along our partner. And when they heard about this program, which is vocational training, so if you've only gone to grade 2 or grade 4 and you're older, maybe you're 18, you can't go back to grade 3, but you can learn a skill and you can start your own business. And the girls here are being given the opportunity to learn hairdressing, their dressmaking, beauty, so different skills, and the ability to start a business, learning to read and write, some of them for the first time, and also getting the counseling they need to heal from the trauma they went through.
Wow, Cheryl, that's amazing. What has most impacted you during your time there so far?
Yeah, well, today we're following up with a girl that we met 3 years ago at the Mully Children's Family campus, actually a different campus. She was at the time just turned 12. and she'd given birth to her first child. She was sexually assaulted at 11 years old, and then her life was threatened. So she was actually hidden at this campus when we met her, and she'd just given birth 2 weeks ago through C-section, because little girls obviously can't give birth in the normal way. It was really a tough thing to meet her, and she's always been on our hearts and minds. So to meet up with her today and see her 3 years later, she's 15 now, her daughter is 3 years old, and she is doing so well. And she told us a little bit of her story and what she's been through. She's taking hairdressing, which she loves, and she's very good at it. And you know, when we met her, she couldn't even string 2 sentences together. She barely spoke the whole time I was with her, because of the trauma. But now you see, through counseling, through empowerment, through encouragement, through hope for the future and vocational training, all of a sudden now she has all of this hope, and she's doing so much better. Not only is she the best hairdresser, but here's the thing that really hit me. Everybody told me she's the best mom here. Here's this child, which is a product of sexual assault, and there she is caring for this child, the best of everyone. And I asked her why. You know, why do you care so well for your daughter? And she said, you know, I had to make a decision that what happened to me was terrible, yes, but this girl, it isn't her fault. And I had to see her as a gift from God. And because I decided that she's a gift from God, then I care for her like she's a gift from God. And so not only is she caring for this daughter, and she has all these hopes and dreams for her future, but she's also forgiven her attacker. And so just personally for me, and I know when we bring this story to you later this fall, it's just going to mean so much, because it is God at work here in Kenya.
I mean, that's unbelievable. You know, I know that we're hiding this young woman's face because her case is still in the courts, and we want to make sure that she's, you know, safe. Cheryl, I know how challenging it can be to surround yourself by so much hurt and pain, but it sounds like you're still seeking hope in the midst of it, aren't you?
Yeah, you know, hope is the word that I have to use here, Joe. I know I said hopelessness was what was hitting me before, but then hearing the end of their story, how they're working through things, how they're getting a skill, how they're about to take their exams, their dreams of having a business, and how confident they are now. You know, there's a real sense of empowerment here. The fact that dreams are possible, that life can change, that it doesn't have to be the way that it was. That's what I'm hearing from the girls. And you know, so many of them in their stories said, I was crying out to God. I felt so hopeless. I was praying every day. God, please help me. God, please help me get out of my circumstances. And I know so many people watching have been in that place in their lives, may be in that place in their lives right now. And so the word is hope, because this place, our partner, the Mully Children's Family, so many of you who have been giving to this ministry, you are the answer to these people's prayers. And you know, we've been partnering with the Mully Children's Family for more than 20 years. And to see generation after generation, lives changed, young people invested in, people who literally had no hope now have hope, and are the future leaders of Kenya, are going to make a difference in their society. That's why I come out of here with so much hope, because I see it still happening. And I want you to know, if you've given, you are part of this answer to prayer. For 20 years, many of you have been faithful, and you are making a difference.
Amen to that. You know, we've been keeping you and the entire team in prayer as you serve there. Is there anything specifically that we can pray for?
Well, thanks, Joe, for asking about prayer. Obviously, for this work, we absolutely want prayer for that, and we appreciate your prayers for us. You know, I had 3 minor injuries and mishaps today, and I just laugh because I know when something like this happens that God is at work, in this work, in what we're doing. And, you know, I think distractions and obstacles want to stop you and slow you down. But we are determined to just persevere through no matter what. And we know that God is doing something here. We pray that even as we're doing these interviews, that God would be bringing healing to these girls' heart. When you can talk about trauma and you are loved and accepted and honored, I think that makes a difference. And we always make sure to try to make that an environment that happens. But the things you could pray for would be just protection for our team, inspiration from God in our storytelling, strength to keep going day after day, good weather, and I think just, that healing from God that would just pour into people's hearts, that we would be here as his hands and feet, serving people and encouraging them, and that is what we want to do.
Awesome. And if people want to give to this work, how can they do that?
Thanks, Joe, for asking. Absolutely. If you want to support this work, we would love to have you join with us. Crossroads Cares making a difference here in Kenya. You can call 1-800-265-3100. You can also go to crossroads.ca/cares. Whatever you can give, I can promise you it's going to make a difference here in Kenya. And we're so thankful for you. I love coming here and just being a witness to how God is at work, but also how your prayers and giving are making a difference.
Wow. Thank you, Cheryl. And we'll see you soon back in Canada.
Bye, Joe.
Now we want you to take a look at this to learn how you can make a difference.
Where people were dying.
Recently, I lost a child that got an infection from that water. Unfortunately, he passed on.
They really are devastated in terms of what happens to them.
It's a lot of heartbreak. It's a lot of exhaustion from people. Thank you on behalf of the people who are going through incredible suffering during this time.
Please, help us.
I'm so excited. I decided to carry this child and come and witness, see with my own eyes if really we are going to have safe water.
We have stories to tell that'll help others understand us. Crossroads is able to help with that.
When you give, you are giving life.
It is so significant. It really is a matter of life and death, and you are making the difference.
Amazing.
Wow. Incredible work Crossroads Cares is doing, but actually it's incredible work you are doing as you sow in and partner with what God is doing through this incredible ministry. You know, listening to you and Cheryl talk, Joe, and just seeing, you know, Cheryl there in Kenya and seeing the pictures of the kids and hearing the story of the young girl who had experienced such a traumatic incident. It breaks my heart as a mom. And you know, you think about what she's gone through and then how her perspective has shifted as she's experienced loving, safe community and people who are following Jesus and really showing her what the love of God looks like in action. So a life restored like her life at this stage is just phenomenal. And we just want to thank you because we can't do that without you. And we're so grateful that you understand the impact of Crossroads Cares across the globe. And the important call as followers of Jesus to give what we can, to step forward and say, how do we become a light in the darkness? How do we help bring freedom to those who are captive or oppressed or abused? How can we make a difference? And you can make a difference even today.
That's right.
That's right. We really want to encourage you to call 1-800-265-3100. Go to crossroads.ca/cares. And as you give, lives are changed and, you know, God gets all the glory.
That's right. You know, I love that I had the opportunity to talk to Cheryl. And, you know, it's triggering in a good way because, you know, even though you're seeing, you know, such a, in one spectrum, it's a negative story because of everything that girl went through.
Right.
But then you see the other side where God intervenes, where God's people step in and they do something that changes a life. And I don't mean this lightly, I really do feel blessed to be a part of what Crossroads is doing here. You know, and some people say, well, you know, I can't give very much. You know, I only have $20 or $100. First of all, stop saying the word only, because you have no idea how far your dollars can go on the other side of the world. You got to understand that $20 to someone in that part of the world can make a huge difference. $100, whatever you can do today, I promise you, I've seen it with my own eyes. It can change your life. And you say that's not possible. It is, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it again. I know you've heard Cheryl made the ask, you made the ask. I really want to put this in front of you again because I believe in it. Call that number today. Go online. Make a gift. And you're not just changing a person's life today, you're really having an impact and an effect in eternity. So thank you for giving, and let's keep praying for Cheryl and the team as they're there serving in Kenya. God bless you. Yeah, that was great. That was great.
Thank you for your ongoing support of Crossroads, a supporter-funded nonprofit organization and member of the Canadian Centre for Christian Charities. Thanks to faithful people like you, we are able to continue producing 100 Huntley Street. You can write to Crossroads, P.O. Box 5100, Burlington, Ontario, L7R4M2, or visit crossroads.ca to learn more about our programs.